Oh, is this Aaron or John? I can't tell by the picture.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's a tough one.
Turn on your camera. We might be able to tell. He's still coming in. He's muted. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah,
sorry, it's Aaron.
Hey,
So hold on with that. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna stop my camera, and I had a little something for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Why does John say Aaron Krovance?
Oh, he's got a John bobblehead.
I know.
Something next to him like a cardboard cutout, John. All right, now you make me feel better. I'm going to hold my story, and that's going to be my hobby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was going to wear the t-shirt, but I just didn't have it today.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Dude, we have to send you a steel toe shirt.
Here we are, finally. Another episode of the Construction DorkCast released on our almost semi-regular schedule, sort of. The Dorks believe in being well-rounded and attempting to find balance in life, and in light of that, we brought in John's doppelganger, Aaron Krovance. Or maybe John is Aaron's doppelganger. You be the judge. Anyway, the point of this episode is to talk about things we do when we're not being construction nerds. Aaron tells a great story about the time he owned the world of grocery bagging, and we realize that John's hobby is just hobbies. Hopefully this episode inspires you to get a range of interests, and maybe you have a laugh or two as well. Thanks for listening, and enjoy.
Nerd! And we're live. That's right. Episode 35, Dorks and Their Hobbies, or the Aaron versus Jonathan show. That's right, baby. We got a special guest with us today. Aaron Krovance is joining us from Waldinger. We're excited to have him. And we picked him specifically because, well, the three of us knew that even if we combined our powers, John would just crush us when it came to hobbies. So we brought in a ringer. That's right. Aaron's here. So for anybody joining us, ask your questions. We're going to get this kicked off. I am still in sober September, October. So Kirkland this week, your grapefruit seltzer water. It's good for the soul. I can't do Trent because he's taking a drink. So Jonathan, what do you got? What do you got for us this week?
Okay, so maybe the only time that I don't have an alcoholic drink for a show, because I took on Travis's challenge to do the Juggernaut AI thing. So I don't get nearly the protein that I'm supposed to get. So I'm drinking the protein accelerated O2, which is like the most tart stuff you've ever had. Although if you mix it with vodka and a little bit ice, it's sweet. I'm just saying, like, I'm sure that defeats the purpose, but a little bit of ice in your protein water and vodka, and you got it.
Maybe canceling something out there. I'm not sure.
Probably canceling something out. I'm all for a zero sum game.
I like it. I like mixing all that up. That got to keep it real, right?
Exactly. So what do you got there, Aaron?
I have an Uncle Nearest 1856 whiskey. It's got a lot of cinnamon afternotes to it. So that way, when I'm spitting on the mic here a little bit later, it doesn't smell so bad.
Nice. That's classy.
Way to think ahead.
Yeah, there you go.
Try to be considerate.
Yeah. So I don't have the bottle right here in front of me, but I'm going with I know in our bourbon group, John and Travis, I sent this one out, but it's from Hard Truth Distillery in Nashville, Indiana. Yeah. And it's a rye. It's called the Indiana Rye. And actually, through congressional legislation, Indiana now has their own rye. So it's
really?
And there are certain characteristics that distinguish it as an Indiana rye. So
that's our tax dollars at work right there. They debated that.
You gotta love it, right? I mean, that's the important things that legislation should go after, really.
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, you don't find anyone filibustering those kind of things.
No.
Like, can we just let them have it?
Right. Just sign that. Just sign it. All right. Well,
Travis?
Yeah. In honor of our guest, a fellow person who lives out in the middle of cornfields, I saw this today. It's the Back Pocket Brewing Hawktoberfest. So it's out of Iowa in the cornfields. I know, Aaron, you're in Omaha. I couldn't remember exactly if you were in the Des Moines office or the Omaha one, but I figured a cornfield's a cornfield. A Hawktoberfest beer. I love a good Oktoberfest. So cheers to everybody. And I'll kick this off. This is, I mean, I put it up on the blog post that, you know, I forgot the comedian's name who did the thank you letters, but thank you craft breweries for making my drinking problem seem like a cool hobby. Like, this is technically kind of one of my hobbies. I really enjoy, you know, locally or anytime I travel around or whatever, I try to find at least one local brew to try, you know, except for on the West Coast where they think that everything has to be an IPA.
And me.
And you.
Yeah, right. I have to agree. I mean, this I think the perfect epitome of a hobby we have to mention the show, right? I mean, this is a hobby.
That's
ours.
right.
I mean, we're definitely not we're not in this for the money. If we are, I'm still waiting. But
right.
This has been a
you
hobby.
didn't get your
sure.
royalty check yet?
They must have the wrong address. I don't know.
I tried to send it to him, but I used it all on the stamp.
Yeah. The stamp was more. Yeah.
Damn it.
If we get enough, I'll buy forever stamps, and then I can send the next pennies to you. But you're not supposed to send cash. Our cash doesn't fold. It just jingles.
But I think people would be surprised to see how much time you actually do spend on doing something like this, right? I mean,
yeah,
we do a terrible job of marketing and keeping these things going at times, but I mean, there is a commitment, there is a time commitment that we put into this, and if we didn't enjoy it and if it wasn't something we like to do, this would have fizzled out after the first few, right? And this is 35 of them, so
something like that ish.
Yeah.
This has been a hobby generator though, too. Like, I mean, you get a hobby like this and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, well now I need to know about audio editing. So I'm going to go learn about audio editing for a week. And then, well, we have some video. Let's go do some video editing and overlaying. And oh my God, you know, it turns out you can use OBS Studios to overlay all these neat little icons and everything. And then for anybody that doesn't know, the first time we had our like DorkCast drawn up, we paid a marketing guy to do that. And that emblem was created by him. And then I because this is a hobby and not bringing in income, I'm like, hey, can you just teach me how to do that? Because I can't afford to do that for each show. And so the dude's like, hey, so now you need to learn how to draw people. And throughout the course of the show, that dude's been in my office, I don't know, 20 different times, critiquing people I've drawn, helping me draw them faster, better, and everything else. And you know, so like for me, this show's not only a hobby by itself, but it's got me into drawing people, which is cool, and things, and doing animations and doing video editing and doing audio editing and all of that stuff. And I feel like those are the types of dork hobbies we get into, is the ones that like pay off in all these weird skills that like they don't really go together. But when you're asked to do something, you're like, well, I can do a little of this and a little of that, and I'll just mix them all together and boom, done. And so I've loved that idea. And I feel like every time I run into another dork, I'm like, so what's your hobby? Like what is the thing that like makes you tick, that you're the best at, with the idea? And Aaron, I'm sure you're with me, that I might steal your hobby. Like if you're good enough to teach me, I'm stealing your hobby.
Right.
That's the way that works. You know, you just need to find that master to sort of learn from.
I just actually saw it today. It was a good artist can copy, a great artist steals. So with that, John, I hope whatever the drawing is of me is you draw me like one of your French girls.
Well, I did draw you like a French girl. I actually did draw you up last night. So we have a drawing of you.
You are drawn.
You are drawn. You're not animated yet, because there's a certain level of whiskey that I had not reached that is necessary for animation to take place.
That's true in animation in real life.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see.
So any of you that host events out there, if you didn't catch that, you can hire John and the Dorks to set up a caricature booth at your event. We'll do a live podcast. John will draw everybody as they come around.
The three of us
charge
will
like
drink.
$15, something like that.
Yeah. I exactly. It's like $5 in a bourbon, and then I'm good for the night. So Aaron, there you go. That's what I did for Aaron.
Way better.
That looks way better.
That's a good one.
Actually,
like
you know what my
Johnny
wife said? My wife said, you're in a hurry. Just take yourself and take your glasses off. Just take you and delete the glasses and just put it back in, and it'll be fine.
There he is.
Aaron,
John, how do you do that?
Yeah.
There's a video trick going on there. There's two Johns all of a sudden.
Yeah,
It's a new
I just
filter.
needed
It's
you
the
with
John
glasses.
Marsh filter.
The John Marsh filter.
I might actually have those exact glasses.
We wouldn't be surprised.
I
Oh,
probably
gosh.
do, man.
I mean, Travis or Trent, you're the one who went and bought all the gear. So
Yeah.
this hobby
Yeah.
has led to Trent has the mobile gear, so that the last episode 34, which was if no one tuned in on that one, was a special episode, a bonus episode from Stratus, and that was recorded live. And that's all. You wouldn't have had that if it wasn't for this, right? I forget who we had. We had James Benham on, and you asked him
yeah.
about what he would
Yep.
get,
Yeah.
and then you ordered it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if there's anyone to emulate, he's kind of a good one to go after. So
The
it was one of
Podfather,
those-
yeah.
yeah,
The
just kind of like,
Podfather.
hey man, what do you use for stuff like this? And then
But I've been recording with him
Yeah.
forever, and it wasn't until we met with Sweetfish Media when we were talking about the CPC and bringing us all together. And then that's where I got all the arms and this
Mhm.
microphone and this whole setup. That's for me a lot better. So I have to agree, Jonathan. It's like a hobby that created hobbies. Yeah, you
Yeah,
have the
man.
same one too.
Yep, I do too.
And I recommend it to everybody. Although I'll tell you what, man, that live episode with that sound was awesome. If you had heard the amount of background noise, the amount of screwing around that you couldn't hear with Trent's setup, it's crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah,
It was.
I think it sounded phenomenal I mean,
Yeah.
there were 30, 40 people in the background yakking and carrying on. And
The only thing
was
we
pretty
didn't do
pleased.
is play music as people walked up. We should have done like a Tonight Show walk up on. You could just hit your little button and play the music and piss John
Well,
off.
John gets mad when I do, one
I
of my
think I get
hobbies,
mad. I just always look disappointed.
one of my hobbies is making John mad with sound effects.
I think it's all of our hobby to make John mad once
Yeah.
in a while. It's
Yeah,
just kinda,
you have
it's
to.
kind of part
It's-
of it, right?
It's part of my chill. Yeah. I got a question for everybody, and maybe start with Aaron, maybe. So what, Aaron, what's the hobby that sort of paid the most dividends? Like a little hobby that you picked up that just kind of kept coming up, like kept paying back, kept working its way into other hobbies, kept of like popping back up. What has it been for you, man?
So my hobby, when the wife and I first got married, she was public accounting. So we were really only married like 3/4 of the year, busy season for her. She was just gone. So I was like, I got to find something to do with my time besides just drink and watch TV. So, at the time I was working in the design world, and I've always been construction savvy, residentially speaking, especially. So I started kind of poking around, and I, drew a floor plan for someone's home, and then that word kind of spread, and it started getting big. And I ran that thing for 10 years. I think I had 4 people at my max kind of helping me out. It was great, but then we decided to start having kids, and we all know how that generally turns out. They take up a little time too. Those can be a hobby in and of themselves. The first one especially, it's like, okay, how bad can we mess this one up?
Right.
I'm not paying for it now, but the therapy later, we're gonna be paying for that one.
It's not that you can't. All of us screw them up. It's just how do you particularly screw yours up uniquely?
Right.
You're like, oh well, I don't want to do what my parents did, so I'm not going to do that. But I'm going to completely screw up something else.
You're going to shift it to completely the other way,
Yeah.
right? You're going to go the completely the other way. Well, and kids, for me, kids not only become a hobby in and of themselves, but then their activities actually become my hobbies. I was a scout leader for a very long time for my son.
Yeah.
And now my daughter is the athlete of the family. So now I'm a basketball coach. I am a softball coach. I sell Girl Scout cookies, DJ Phipps. I do that as well. And so all the sports, like, and she's into volleyball now. I luckily I don't have to coach that one because I'm clueless, but their hobbies become my hobbies as well.
Yeah.
Eating Girl Scout cookies is my eating Girl Scout cookies is my hobby. But no, that was funny.
You got derailed there. Sorry,
Aaron, I derailed you.
No, you're good. I was just agreeing, Travis. I'm finishing up. I think tomorrow night's our last game, so I've been taking a trip as Ted Lasso. I played football growing up, and so my son playing soccer. I'm like, yeah, we're just gonna roll with this. I have him doing drills that I did in football, and one of the other guys was like, yeah, that doesn't really apply here. I was like, sure it does. The drill where you monkey hop over each other.
Oh, sure. How old is your son?
Or something. He plays U12.
U12. Okay. So I did coach my son in soccer up until like 7 or 8 U, and that was easy because it's just go chase the ball around, and then you just have the pack of kids that just kind of roam the whole field. But yeah.
I love the Ted Lasso reference.
Ted Lasso reference is great. Is watching is binge watching TV, is that a hobby?
I don't know if that one qualifies as a hobby.
It's not a great one, but, I mean, I suppose it could be.
If I drink craft beer while I do it, then is it a hobby?
Then it's a hobby.
Right.
Then it's a hobby. Then
Totally
it could be an
counts.
expensive hobby.
Only if you're tweeting about it or posting about it while drinking it and watching.
That's right. I gotta keep my influencer cred, right?
Yeah, then you're an influencer cred. Then it's part of the job. And like, I win.
So who all makes beer? Do you make beer, Aaron, yet?
I have made beer in the past.
Okay, you've made beer. I've made beer and wine. Nothing?
No, I haven't. I think I haven't specifically because I know I would get too deep into that rabbit hole and be like a buddy of mine who, turned his garage into like a sterile brewing facility. I'm like, holy cow, how did you do this? Like, that's amazing, man. It's kind of like, I asked him, I'm like, hey, how did you do this? And he's like, well, you know how when your wife goes out and she'll buy something and she'll put it in way back at the closet, and then it slowly kind of works its way to the front, and then you finally recognize it. And you're like, hey, how long have you had that? Oh, I've had it forever. So he's like, I do it that way. I'd buy like the copper pot, and then it hides somewhere, and then it magically just show up. So I've kind of taken that with that approach with tools for woodworking.
My wife's just OCD enough that as long as everything's a complete mess in my garage, she won't go in. She'll just not go in. She doesn't even want it to exactly. She'd like burn it down if she could. You know what I mean?
That's a whole other podcast episode. Is what is your defense strategy to defend your hobbies?
Exactly.
But
I got a guy I work with who says that he has a barn and he does everything in the barn. And the reason he doesn't make his barn very nice is because his wife will want to be out there. So there may be a strategy there. I don't know.
Is that a she barn? Doesn't it turn into
a she shed? Or,
a she shed.
Yeah.
Or a she shack? Is it a she shack or a she shed?
Ooh, she shack.
Ooh.
So Aaron.
Yeah, I totally agree with Rod, by the way, that the right way to get new tools is to have your wife ask you to do a project, because then you have kind of like an open window. Yes, I needed a car lift. I know all you needed was a window replaced, but there's definitely the need for a car lift if we're replacing a window. Right. That's how that works.
For sure.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
How are we going to get the window to the house without a car lift?
But Aaron, I have to bring something up from I think when we were at the innovation committee in Tampa.
Yeah.
So hopefully this isn't still a hobby of yours, but let's talk a little bit about your time spent as one of the world's fastest grocery baggers. Can we bring that?
Oh man. Yeah, that was a lifetime ago. Yeah, so for those who probably don't know, which is almost everyone, back in high school and college, I worked at a grocery store as a I don't know, PCs now is probably courtesy clerk, but we always call them grocery stackers. So there was this every year there's this tournament and of who could sack groceries the best or the fastest and so on and so forth. And I was like, okay, I've watched this for 2 years. I'm going to just try it for the fun of it. I had a buddy that did it and he won state the first year. I was like, it can't be that hard if he did it. So assuming someone else's hobby, like John said, I got into it. And the first year I did it, I was going at state and there's this can of tuna and it slipped out of my hand as I was going to put it in the bag and it slid out of my sight and I could not find it. As I'm going, I'm looking around like, where did this thing go? And couldn't find it. I'm like, all right, well, maybe the judges won't see it. And sure as shit, someone from the crowd, he's got a can of tuna hiding right there. Who does this? So I didn't win state my first year, but second year around, I ended up winning state and got an all expense paid trip to Vegas to compete nationals and ended up placing 5th. And I tell you what, I've seen some strange things in my days, but that one might be one of the most interesting things I've ever taken part of. The kid from California, I'll never forget. He came up on stage as we were announcing everyone and he's just beating his chest like, yeah. I'm like, wow, dork. But that was, the only sad part about that is I think I was 18 at the time, so I couldn't even legally gamble it in Vegas. So yeah, I had to give Dad my money.
Couldn't put money on yourself.
Yeah, I know. Oh, that would have been an interesting sports bet.
Yeah. Pete Rose it, man.
That's right.
If you're in Vegas, somebody is betting on it. I guarantee you, somebody betted on that
sure.
competition and was pissed that you got caught with the tuna.
Yeah. that guy's sleeping with the fishes now. Punny.
Yeah.
I always love that story. What a random.
It's just a total. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. And, for Nebraska, they had like, God, what was that? That was like 99 when I did that. And, Nebraska football was really good back then, unlike today. And so they had all these players from former teams being up there, and Trev Alberts, who he played for the Colts for like a year and a half, I think. He's now the AD at Nebraska, but yeah, he was the speaker, and I've got like a signed photo of him and I. I
was hoping it was going to be a grocery bag, a signed
With a bag, yeah, with a grocery bag.
I was trying to find the photos, but yeah, that's like the trophies are ceramic grocery bags, the paper bag.
Very cool.
And I mean, they're amazing.
If you don't win, you get sacked by the NFL player.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's just sitting there waiting on the side.
All I can think of is, any of you guys seen the movie Employee of the Month with Dane Cook, where they have that race at the end? That's, as soon as you said it, that's all I could think of was Aaron like standing up and shooting the gun to get the last prize.
Wow.
Yeah. And since I was poor, I decided, hey, I'm going to monetize this. So I ended up making t-shirts. I think I've got one friend that still has a t-shirt. Mine all rotted away since that's been like 20 years ago now. But
we got to find one of those.
Yeah, they were amazing. I think on the front, because that was about the same time the Got Milk ad campaign was going on. So I had Got Bag or Got Sack or something.
There you go, Darren. Fastest sack.
There you
got
go.
sacked.
Yeah.
There you go, Darren.
record. Yeah, and that's Travis. You give a good segue there. I did have the fastest time in state record for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years until someone finally dethroned it. But yeah, it was like sub 30 seconds. So it was cooking.
It's great that you turned it into a side hustle. Like
Right.
I like the fact that you did some shirts and like I'll have a side hustle that just sells some merchandising off of this.
Yeah.
And right before that, it was like I'll just do some architectural stuff as a side hustle too. I feel like
that's how it always works, right, John?
Yeah.
Like that's how I got into drones. Is I got so tired of the side hustle of measuring houses, and it never fails. Like I didn't measure like 3 dimensions, and it totally screwed me every time. So I finally said screw it and bought a drone and started making photogrammetry models, surprisingly accurate. But I've been doing that for a while, and that's just kind of wild to get those models to pop up. You know, you look at it, and like, how did it do it out of like 1,000 photos from, you know, who knows where? But it's pretty cool.
I'll tell you, I think that everybody is helped by the amount of tech that we just have lying around. Like if you're a construction tech person, like I was making a chicken coop because we wanted to have chicken coops and my wife wanted it to look like a gypsy wagon. Yes, I got tools out of that. Just saying, Rob, I got some tools out of that one for sure. But like I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, screw it, man. I'll draw it up in CAD and I'll animate it and I'll like we have all these, like we have computers with what, $40,000 worth of software on them. Usually it's like we can sit down and have, you know, make amazingly accurate plans of anything we want to do, you know, and it's awesome to have those extra toys. I was talking to that guy, Jared, and he said one of the things that got him into building was the amount of leftover pallets and pieces of metal sitting outside their shop. He just couldn't put up with it anymore. And he's like, I'm going to go build stuff out of all this leftovers. And, you know, I feel that I identify with that. You leave enough stuff out. We have all the tools. You might as well just build something. You know what I mean?
All those pallets, I just have bonfires. That's
Right.
all I can
That's all-
think of.
that's
You
all I
guys
do too,
build
yeah.
stuff. I just bonfires, but I guess you run out of bonfires after a while and need to build something.
That's a hobby.
That's
Yeah.
a hobby.
Yeah.
If you had craft beer,
If I had craft beer,
I had a 3 month, no, it was probably more like a 6 month period where I had my Sunday pallet project. So I picked up 2 pallets, figure out what I wanted to build, take pictures of it and put it on my website at the end. And at the time, this will date me. At the time, it was a Tumblr because Tumblr was a thing, like before porn. It was on there and that was all it was about. Not before actual porn. That would be a
I
long
was gonna say that definitely
before
came
John's
first.
foray.
No,
that's a
that's-
hobby. That's a later hobby.
No, but before Tumblr was full of porn,
We're
I
so
had like
done.
hundreds of followers
man.
watching my Sunday palette
Good going,
projects.
everybody. We're canceled.
it's great to know all of you. Thanks. Final episode 35.
So before we go down John's porn route, maybe the three of us, Trent and
Fastest
Jeff,
sack in the Midwest.
we should outline our hobbies and then watch Aaron and John go head to head.
It sounds good.
Oh, yeah, let's do that. That'd be
Trent,
good.
you want to kick it off?
I will. So I think most of you guys here know one of my big one is cars, right? So cars and motorsports. Pretty much any chance I get, I have a Porsche track car that I take to a couple local tracks, and that's something that I try to spend as much free time as I can on. And you know, living in Indianapolis, it kind of fits the bill a little bit. I mean, you have the so I rented IMS, I've ran, and then there's Putnam Park is a local track just west of the city that I'm a club member of, and I try to run out there every couple weeks, hopefully. But yeah, like they were saying with the tools and stuff, it's, you know, any chance to get to kind of wrench around and gear around on that, I do. And then nothing relieves the stress of BIM a little more than going out and running something at 140 mile an hour and kind of forgetting about all the things that you did that day.
Putting somebody in the wall.
Haven't done that. But Darren, of course, he's crashing it. Hopefully that's not a foreshadow there, Darren, but because you are very much at risk with that stuff. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, cars have been a big hobby of mine. Spend a lot of time with that, and a lot of money.
So do you have a color that you prefer to paint your car? I mean, is like there a specific color that's more intimidating than another color? I mean, like, do you race for pink slips? I mean, that just seems like something fun.
For
pink
slide. Are you racing for times, or is there other people on the track, or is there?
Yeah, so it's for time.
Okay.
It's not they're not exactly rubbing around on you and trying to push everybody off. So it's for time. No, not for pinks. It sounds cool in the Fast and Furious world, Aaron, I guess, but it's road course racing too, right? So the track that I'm at most of the time it's 1.8 miles, 10 turns. So colors, it's all about wrapping now. It's not really the painting, but I do the white and black, and I'm pretty basic with that. So white, black, and red.
So did
You
you
should get
watch
sponsors?
Yeah, there you go. Big sticker on there. Flaviar.
DorkCast sticker on the top.
Put one on the helmet.
Unpaid sponsor.
It'll scare everybody.
You've got to put a still better than Bim right across the front of it.
It
No
definitely is still better than Bim. I mean, there's no doubt.
Darren.
Put something on the back like I'd rather be Bimming, not,
So did you ever watch the show Mythbusters?
Yes.
They did an episode on drifting. What is your opinion? Is it faster to drift or to slow down and power through the curves?
Oh, drifting is not faster.
Drifting is not faster. I think that's what they came to the conclusion of.
No.
It's way cooler.
It's way cooler.
Yeah.
Visually speaking.
No, it's all about corner speed. So, you want to get all your braking done before you turn. The car has to track front to rear. So you can't, how do I say, God, this is getting way more in than I thought.
This is where I smile and nod and
yeah. Just because when you brake, weight goes to the front, right? When you accelerate, weight goes to the back. So when you're turning, all of that input has to be neutral. So all of your your braking is done before you turn, and then your acceleration is done after the turning. So yeah, that's the fastest way around a corner.
try it on my way to work tomorrow.
Yeah, you should. Everyone should. Yeah,
Everybody.
you should.
What about you, Jeff? What do you got in your list?
Well, I guess most of we were talking about this beforehand. Most of mine are pedal powered. I have just about one of every bike. I have a road bike, a gravel bike, and a mountain bike. So they pretty much get me where I want to go whenever I want to go. Most of you, you just ended up as a mechanic there, Trent. I piss all of my friends off whenever I get a new bike or anything. They're like, what's the gearing? What's the setup? And I'm like, it has pedals.
Yeah.
It has a chain. It goes. I make it go. That's what I do. I've learned how to fix a few things over time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a complete moron out there with them, but that would be that swimming, running. I was asking my son, he's like, well, the whole list. Skiing, I'd say though, that's where telemark skiing is where I'm a nerd.
You just beat me to it. Sorry.
So that's my forget about it. Like Trent, when you were talking about it, you hit the track and there's nothing else you can think about. I read a lot of books when I'm climbing uphill on my bike, different bikes. That's how I get a lot of the books and podcasts in. But skiing, you can do nothing but ski.
You
Same with
read and ride.
No.
That sounds
Oh.
dangerous.
Yeah.
I could listen and ride.
I was like,
Ah,
No, I listen. I do all the audible
Audiobooks,
books. Like
okay.
that's where all the Audible books come from. That's where if you look at my Audible list, they're huge, but that's because it's hours of climbing on your bike. And I actually switch it over to music to go downhill because again, you should not be thinking. You should be looking where you're going when you're going downhill. And my current newest mountain bikes feels like a motorcycle going downhill. It's quite fun. In fact, I was out with a buddy who was like, that's really not a cross country bike anymore. It's kind of a free ride downhill bike. I'm like, no, it's a motorcycle with pedals. Get it uphill and then you can go fast downhill. Although it has, I wouldn't say it's turned into much of a hobby, but all the different devices that I have with it. I have, my Garmin, my Apple Watch, a bunch of the apps that I link together. I'm always sending the dorks my relive stuff.
Mhm.
That's like I'll post it on Twitter once in a while. It relives the ride from you. It relives the ride for you. Ricky.
Car went real
Ricky
fast.
Bobby.
Car went fast.
Car went fast. What do I do with my hands?
You're right though, Jeff. You're right. Like, because even in racing and stuff too, is it requires so much physical and mental focus that you don't have time to think about all the other stressors or what's going on professionally. Every little decision requires all of your input. So it's a great escape. Yeah.
Yeah. You talk about that. I mean, we talked with Chad Pearson about this when we had him on about flow state, and the easiest way to get me in flow state is a bunch of snow and my skis, and I'm gone. See you later. Even climbing out, climbing up in the winters and running up there in the winters. It's just, it's something about it. So that, Aaron went way back to his bagging days. So I have to go back to the whole reason I do this for a living, that I have an IT background, is actually because of a hobby. I was hired into IT, but I was going to be out of IT pretty quickly here where I lived in Vail, working for Vail Resorts. And I think statute of limitations is up, so I can tell the story now. But you guys all know Unreal
disclaimer. We're not involved with what Jeff is saying.
Don't sue
Unreal
us.
Tournament. You guys know the Unreal.
Oh yeah,
Engine,
man.
right?
Yeah.
Well, Unreal Engine was built on, Unreal Tournament and Unreal Engine were built at the same time, and the Unreal Engine took off. Like, I don't even think Unreal Tournament exists anymore. And it was like a capture the flag thing that a whole bunch of people that I worked with were into, and we had to cannibalize parts from computers to make our computers faster. And we had these old crappy ones sitting stacked up. So that's how I learned to like build my own gaming computers. And then we had this guy, we couldn't get outside of the firewall, but we had this guy, Matt, that put a server in the DMZ for us that we could all play on and people from outside could come into. And we would sit there, and we thought Matt did it because he liked us, right? No, then he hid a key to the server room for us, and we'd be staying there. We'd go to the bar across the street, and we'd come back and we'd be playing games, and something would go on at like 2:00 in the morning, and he'd call and see if one of us was there, and we'd be there, and he'd have us go into the server room and he'd teach us how to reboot servers and stuff. This is back in the old Novell days, because they were all like command line. And so for like 3 years, we did this, playing Unreal Tournament, or like 2 years playing Unreal Tournament back there ourselves, until finally Matt left and the new guy came in and found us out. So like, I would not be in computers. I would not know how to put all the stuff together. I would never, if it wasn't about, I got to make my PC faster. But 5 of us would sit in the room playing Capture the Flag. This was before like the headsets and everything.
Yeah.
And we'd be yelling at each other, I'm coming up the side with the flag. So yeah, there's my hobby. My hobby was computers. Now it's my job. So I guess
Funny how
those
that
are mine
happens.
too. Yeah, right. What about you, Travis? What are yours, man? Before
Well,
we let the hobbyists go.
Yeah, before we let the guys go head to head, it's kind of funny. We talked about sports and the kids and stuff, and that's always been a big thing for me, being outdoors. I grew up on a farm, so I would say that I'm handy to a point. Like I can awkwardly fix things and make them ugly and make them work, because as a cheap farmer, so I can do that kind of stuff. But for somehow and I don't know if it's related to my time in the service or with the kids, volunteering seems to be a hobby or an obsession of mine. I'm a volunteer fireman. I am also the president of our local park board. The way that Illinois is set up is you can set up a separate taxing district. So I'm actually a volunteer podcaster. I am actually an elected official. I'm the Pearl City Park District board president. And anybody that lives in a small town knows, like, we're a village of about 850 people. Like there's usually a dozen families that do everything. And I am one of those guys that just like, yeah, whatever, sign me up. So that's how I kind of get involved in all the sports. Rob put up barbecuing. Like I do have a pellet grill. I don't know if that really technically counts me as a barbecuer, but I kind of enjoy that a lot. But kind of my big thing is my moniker on Twitter and is the powerlifting nerd. And I've been doing powerlifting now for probably about 15 years or so. I haven't competed in a while. It's been probably about 4 years since I've done my last powerlifting meet. Every time I try to get back on the platform, as they say, I either have a work trip that's right in the wrong time for my training cycle to go do it, or when you're trying to push yourself a little bit athletically, injuries happen. So and ironically, it's an injury that got me into it. When I left Iraq from the army, I had 3 compressed discs and a bulging disc and everything like that. And I went through all the physical therapy through the VA, and kind of towards the end of that, they're like, well, there's not much else we can do for you. This is just kind of where you're going to be for the rest of your life. And I asked if there was any restrictions to weightlifting, because I was generally a fitness buff at that point, and they said no. And I just so happened to sign up for a gym, and the guy that ran that gym was a power lifter. And sure enough, within a year, I was doing my own, doing a powerlifting meet. So we call it the real man's triathlon, Jeff, squat, bench, dead. But and now I've infected John, and John seems to at least somewhat enjoy
week
it.
5, and
Week
it's
5.
Awesome. Feeling good.
Yeah.
I feel crippled most of the time, actually.
That does get better, but not if you're really pushing yourself. If you're really pushing yourself, you're always going to be kind of, they call it you forever sore. There's a lot of gym memes and stuff out there, and that's kind of where I live. Always twiddling with diet and sleep and different exercise routines, and trying to stay consistent in that. I definitely have my Zen moments. Powerlifting is a little different because it's not 2 hours on a bike or a day on a bike. It's pump yourself up for 15 seconds of fury, and then you're going to sit back down. But there's a lot of visualization and mind preparation that goes into kind of putting that bar across your back. And I'm going to take 400 plus pounds, and I'm going to squat down until my butt is below my knees, and I got to stand back up again. So it does take a lot of focus to do that kind of stuff. So the Zen moments kind of happen there. And there's probably, like if you can see my background, it says you don't need a hobby, you need therapy. It's probably, I probably should be in therapy. I always say it's my therapy session. It's my church, because that's where, I have some, whether or not I'm aware of them, there's probably some demons in there that make me want to go punish myself for an hour and a half or an hour in this weight room. So that's kind of my big hobby, other than drinking with you yahoos.
There is all that drinking whiskey thing.
Right,
is that really a hobby? Oh yeah.
Well,
thanks.
I do have a t-shirt, Beast of Bourbon. So I mean, there's a hobby right there.
That's a Stone song. Yeah.
So Aaron, they've cleared it for us. What is your current biggest hobby? Like the one that if you weren't on the show or at work and no one was bugging you, the kids were not bugging you, you'd be doing right now because it's what you want to do.
Well, so lately I've really taken up just talking to the chat help on support sites. No. No,
that's an evil hobby.
Yeah,
that is evil.
Yeah, it's so bad.
Oh, that's terrible.
No, so I was flying my drone. I've got a couple of them, but I was flying my Mavic Air 2. it was over lunch about a week and a half ago. And it was just kind of cruising along, just kind of testing it out. And I had new props on it, right? And I'm like, okay, this trying to get it as quiet as possible so I can use it for espionage, allegedly. But so I'm driving and it's flying along, and all of a sudden I hear Goose just go. I'm like, what the fuck? So I look up, there's this hawk. It comes out of nowhere and like tries to talon grab the blades. And there's just feathers everywhere. This thing, I mean, they both were screwed up. Like, I was laughing so hard. It didn't bug me that my $1,500 drone smacked down from about 50 feet up. I was just like, holy crap, that was awesome. And of course, it didn't catch it.
So canceled.
Catch it on video. I'm like, because you just hear that like when your barber takes off too much hair. Like, what? So Goose has been in the shop. I had to ship it out to California. I was gonna take it on our trip to Vail this week and get some pretty cool mountain shots, but alas, I had to leave him behind. So
your hobby is tormenting
movie,
birds
right?
of prey.
Yeah, it's that's probably my favorite one right now. It kind of like meanders, just like most of my thought processes, right? So during COVID, I had my drone and I thought, oh man, what am I going to do with all this? So I started, we started getting outside more like everyone does, right? And I'm like, okay, well, what can I do with this? So I started pre-programming flight paths around like some cool monuments and buildings and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, well, I can turn that into 3D photogrammetry stuff. And I ended up, I think I showed this, but so
nice.
This is a tombstone, a headstone. I can't call it a tombstone, of a Prussian war survivor who ended up in Nebraska somehow. I don't know how a guy from Germany ends up in central Nebraska, but whatever. So, and he had this beautiful tombstone or headstone made for him. So I was like, okay, I'm going to fly. So I flew the drone around it and created my 3D model out of the photogrammetry and 3D printed it. It turned out pretty good for, that was my first go round. So I've tried a few different things, and that's kind of become the goal for me now, is to find different landmarks that I love and try and get them digital and then 3D print them to some scale, hopefully. So.
Just sell the NFT.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I know one of the programmers that's working for me on one of my projects has been doing that, except he's been putting it in Unity and gaming on them. So he'll go and he'll fly his drone and he'll take that environment, he'll throw it in Unity, and that will be his little game area. And he's like really sunk into it. And I was like, so what all are you doing? He's showing me like half of Pittsburgh. Like the dude's been locked it down since COVID. So like he's been droning half of Pittsburgh and slowly feeding it into a gaming engine. And I'm like, that's insane. And I love those cumulative ones. And you had a perfect one there. We're like it was one thing to go out and do it once, but like when you get to the point where it's like, okay, well, we've done this for 5 years or 10 years or whatever else. Now it's like it's reached a brand new level. And I feel like that's like a lot of my hobbies do that. I start out by like trying it once, and then like later on, I realized that I've been doing this for 5 years, and I built up like a good, like when I started my Twitter's still Eerie Forage. So I had a year where I couldn't grow a garden because we were going to try to sell a house. And I'm like, well, I could try foraging instead of gardening. It would be cool because then I don't have to grow anything. And there's these mushrooms that smell like almonds. This type of like, it's an oyster mushroom. It smells like almonds. And I'm like, that's like my favorite flavor because I'm Italian. And, so if there's a mushroom that smells like that, I gotta go find it. So like I spent my summer that year finding mushrooms and photographing them and then doing a website. So from like, can't remember how old it is. think it's from 2013 on. I had pictures every 3 days of every mushroom growing in my town, because it was like I would go out, pick mushrooms, take little pictures and put it up. And it just kept accumulating and accumulating and accumulating. And I love those little ones. But my favorite one right now, it's going to change. I know it's going to change because I just got, Jeff got me to get an e-bike. And so I got a Quiet Cat from Colorado, and it's not riding it, Jeff. I have interest in riding, and I love that, but I can make all this weird gear to strap onto it. Like I got it yesterday, and I had like an hour between meetings, and I went out to my garage and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to weld together enough stuff to get all my fly rod and my boots and everything else onto this bike, because then I can take the bike down to the creek where no one can get their car because it's steelhead around here, and use it there. So I feel so your hobby right now is putting stuff together as a hobby onto another hobby to take you to yet another hobby.
That's what I said, John.
That's correct.
John's hobby is hobbies. His hobby is hobbies.
It's referred to as stacking. Stacking.
What's your hobby stack?
Oh my gosh.
You have a hobby stack.
I
have a hobby stack. Take that. I'm taking that for Tampa this winter.
Yeah.
Hashtag hobby stack.
Yeah, we owe Aaron $1 every time we use hobby stack from here on out.
All right, well, it'll go on
John,
with our
website.
John, honestly, that will be you. I don't know. I mean, it's
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I'll owe him anything. So,
but that idea, like you said, you got a 3D printer. I've met two types of people with 3D printers. The type that print everything all the time, like it's a constant add-on to whatever they're doing. And then I've met people that like got it, thought it would be cool for their kids, and it kind of sits there and collects dust. So what's the coolest thing you printed in terms of like that? Because once you get one, you have to do some cool shit.
Right. And the hardest part with the 3D printers is like, it almost starts to drive you mad about how, okay, well, I need to print this to, like I got the Ender 5 Pro, Pro, because the plus is for vertical rods. So the bed sits out there and it's cantilevered, so it kind of tends to want to bounce. So I'm like, well, I got to stiffen that up. So the first thing I'm printing is modifications for the printer. And I feel like that's all I've been doing lately is just making, like stuff for the printer. And the wife asked me the other day, she's like, what are you still printing down there? I was like, oh, well, the LED screen needed a new cover. So
you're gonna print yourself a printer is what you're gonna do.
Yeah, basically.
I'm on that path. So I bought one off of eBay. I bought a second one because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this a farm. I'm going to slowly make a farm out of this. And
side hustle. Hobbies become side hustles with Aaron.
Don't drink and daydream. This never turns out.
And
well.
some of them make no money.
All of them make no money. Most expensive crap you ever did is on a printer.
Oh yeah, it's so bad. And this printer, the guy verified it was new, so it comes out and the X and Y rails are busted, like they're cheap plastic and they're just blown up. So I had to get my calipers out, and first I had to super glue them back together. Then I got my calipers out and was measuring them so I could model them back up in Revit and then 3D print them on my working one. I'm like, this is so like who does that, right? I mean, it's kind of like Travis, you were saying, the farmers, it's kind of, that's the heritage that they have, right? Is They figure out ways to jerry rig things.
Yeah. This wire is not there anymore, but I bet if I put a coat hanger on it, I can get that electricity from that end to that end.
That penny works as a hell of a fuse.
Right. Yeah. Once.
I was on a job site out at a GE plant, and the foreman pulled me aside and he says, we got troubles in plumbing. And this was when I just started. And I go, why? He says, there's no more farmer kids. And he said, without farmer kids, who's going to figure this stuff out? And the more I like talk to people that are talented foremen, the more I agree with him. Like they're almost, you talk to them and it's like, you were a farmer's kid. Okay. You worked on a farm, or you're currently working on a farm. It's crazy how that level of sort of thinking, that type of sideways thinking that you have to do to hack things together, just pays huge dividends in construction. It's like, it's almost the backbone.
Yeah. I mean, to kind of bring this back to construction in the real world, that's one of the reasons that the Helm Group will probably never move its corporate office, even though we have offices kind of all over, is we draw a great deal from these little small town farm community. In obviously farming's changed a lot since, but you still have those small town farmers who they're just really good at figuring shit out.
Well, they don't have shop class in school anymore. Like the farmer kids are the people that get to play with things. I mean, half of the tools that I have, I use my kids as an excuse. Aaron, you can use your kids as an excuse. So say we're going to homeschool on blacksmithing or whatever else. It's like the best way to get tools out of my family is to hedge it as, oh, we'll have the kids try it, and then I steal their 3D printer or their Lego set or whatever else we bought them,
Or their anvil.
Their anvil.
Oh, don't take
Of course my
anvil.
daughter needs an anvil. Come on, man.
Well, that's what John is. As we get older, my goal is to recycle those purses that the wife thought she needed all those years, and figure out how to turn those leather, tanned leather hides into something more valuable, like straps for like a. God, I'm blanking. Someone's gonna have to help me out here.
John's already thinking about putting them on the e-bike already.
Yeah,
Right,
Like,
right.
they work
Yeah,
as
saddlebags.
saddlebags. Come on.
Yeah.
I'll weld up a
E-bike
frame.
saddlebags.
We'll be good. Yeah, it will be great.
Or straps into rifle slings. I like that. That's a good one.
Nice.
Just put just put like a Harley emblem on it, and you can sell it for a fortune. And
Aaron, I have a good 3D printer one for you. Do you mind if I show them just one? I swore I would like not show too many because I have too many hobbies.
No, you won't.
You know I show it anyways, but check this out. So this is a motor off of a treadmill. So my treadmill broke. And do you see this little thing? So
Yeah.
motors on treadmills are backwards wound. So you can't really use them as a variable frequency drive on anything. So I took out my micrometers and I made a little mount for it. And then I started to like morph it. And I took apart the body and re-welded it back together. And
Nice.
finally I took it and put it on top of my my old stove or my old gas grill, and ended up with a 62-inch belt grinder for making knives for like free. Well, you know, next to free for like $100. Okay. And it actually
That's
worked,
not
and I haven't
counting your
killed
time,
myself.
John.
Right.
Yeah, well, this is true. Yeah. But
$37,000.
There happens to be an anvil in the
after
background.
hourly fees. But
yeah. But like I couldn't figure out the electronics. So check it out. The actual like the heads up unit on it still has the safety key, because I like don't know how to do the electronics part. I just know how to hook the motor back up.
It
So
took
I
me
left
14
it there.
miles to make this knife.
Dude, at 7 miles per hour, you grind a knife just beautifully. Look at that. It is just it is perfect at about 7 miles per
Oh
hour.
my
On the-
oh my god.
but
That's
again, like
awesome.
it's the stack, man. You're exactly right, Aaron. It's
The
like I
hobby
can
stack.
3D print and I can build shit out of anything. Let's just rip shit apart and build.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
I'm sorry. This is
Sorry.
probably
That's awesome.
my favorite. Like
The
hack.
fact that it has the treadmill control.
It is great.
It actually is the
kills
one
me.
that I just couldn't figure it out, man.
Select your workout. My workout is Damascus blade.
Oh, yeah, right on, man. Well, you look in variable frequency drives are expensive, man, but there's one on your treadmill and it's free. Well, free if your treadmill breaks, or if you can find somebody that doesn't use their treadmill, which is a lot of people.
So since a lot of us are introverts by nature, the favorite hobby I think we all probably share is people watching, right?
Mhm.
So Katie, my wife, and I were sitting out just outside of Gondola 1 in Vail this week, having coffee one morning, and we were staring right up, was it Pepe's face, I think, Jeff, is that
Yep.
right?
Pepe's face.
Yeah, so it's a black, right? Or is it a double black?
It's our favorite run to watch people fall down in the winter.
Oh, yeah.
There's actually a bar there. There's a bar that you were
Yeah.
missing, Los Amigos, and you sit on the deck of Los Amigos and you watch people at the end of the day try to ski down it. Most of them slide down on their faces.
So we're sitting there and we're watching, just kind of watching the mountain and having fun. And this guy comes up and he starts packing his rucksack, and I was just feeling goofy. So I go, hey, I'll give you 90 minutes to get straight up the mountain at this path right here. And he looks at me and he goes, 90 minutes and I'll be in Minturn. Just like, okay. So I was laughing and I was like, wait, oh, he's serious. Oh shit. So he goes and he takes off straight up that Pepe's face is a black for those who ski. I don't ski, I fall. So he goes straight up and it's loose rock and it's snow covered ish. And he's slipping and sliding, in the back of his mind, he's like, okay, I made an ass of myself. I got to get all the way up here. And so he finally got to the top. I would have died halfway and rolled back down. But yeah, he got to the top and disappeared. And later that afternoon, my wife and I went over to Minturn, partially because we were curious if he made it or not.
See if you could run into him.
Yeah, I was like, man, there's no way, because I couldn't get over it. I'm like, okay, one mountain, sure, you could probably do that, but to go over 3 mountains, I think, to get between here to there as the crow flew, it's like, no way.
No, there's a cut through. So all you had to do is make it to the top, and then there's this thing that the Minturn mile that'll take you down there.
Spoiler
the other
alert.
side. Spoiler alert.
Cheater.
Cheater.
He had the cheat code.
I'll be in Minturn by then. Although
Game genie.
I don't know anybody that actually does that on foot necessarily, but
so I pulled up the Rocky IV album and started playing that for him as he climbed the mountain.
Nice.
Hearts on fire.
That's awesome.
Who else karaoke's, huh? And no one?
Oh, God, there's
only
DJ.
after a few
Jake's not on here.
Jake's not on
Jake's
here.
not on here.
We don't have Jake Olson, man.
Yeah.
That's a different show.
I heard Walker in Nashville, and Walker's got a voice, man. I'm just telling you right now, that boy can sing. Yeah.
So if this data thing doesn't play out, Jake and Walker can form a band, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. They can be the new Milwaukee band or whatever that is.
DeWalt, come on now.
Yeah.
DeWalt's version of the Milwaukee
DeWalt's
band.
version.
It'll be awesome.
They can call it Between Two Ficuses.
Oh,
Nice DJ.
Nice DJ.
Way
Well
to
played, sir.
go, DJ. That's great. Actually, Jake Olson played when we were in Nashville. You saw him,
Yeah.
Jonathan. He got up on stage and played a song with the band at the Dado M Suite. I forget the others.
Dado
DeWalt.
M Suite DeWalt, I think was it.
No, there was another. What is DeWalt has a new tech?
Oh, Stanley X.
X. Yeah.
Stanley X, yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
played Love Potion number 9. He killed it too, man.
Yeah.
He did a good job.
They did good.
Potion number 9.
That's a little shout out. All right, so we are getting close to the end. I want to go back through and figure out if there's one new hobby that we should be on the lookout for next episode of our hobby episodes, because these come back. So I'm gonna go to Jonathan and Aaron here first and give Travis, Trent, and I some time to think, because I don't know. But Jonathan, what do you think? What do you think's next?
So when we were at Nika, Jeff, I walked over to all of those neat little tools that they have for electrical and like stared at them for a while. And it turns out that a lot of them could be automated. And they're not that expensive. So I talked to my brother who's at Penn State with their innovation lab. And I said, do you think we could find a way to buy some of these and let me and some students automate it? So I think that the next thing for a hobby is probably going to be, and I liked working with students when I was down there in Nashville, working with some students on automating stuff for the electricals, because I'm telling you right now, Aaron, if you looked at some of their benders, some of their offsetters, everything like that, and you're like, why do you not have servos controlling this in like a computer? Like, why is this manual? This should not be manual. So I think my next hobby is going to be automation. As long as I can get somebody to pick up the bill for buying those pieces of equipment for me to destroy, which is going to be the trick.
All right. Well, you heard it here first, an opportunity to invest in the future of electrical automation. Aaron, what about you? Anything on the sites other than getting your bird back up and running?
Yeah. No, I just got my new iPhone. So I have been tinkering with the LiDAR capabilities of that a little bit. Fascinating, but infant at this point, as far as I'm concerned. I love the idea of having Spot walking around with a scanner or some sort of pointer, because to me, one of, I think we as a company have done a really good job of speeding up the hanger, the support process, with pre-pours and prefabbing all the hangers. But to me, the thing that just kills me is you go out to the job site and you see these guys just in a cart and they're, hey, looking at an iPad or piece of paper, give me 1042. And then you got another guy rifling. I'm like, how cool would it be to have like a Spot that has like a 3D printed carrier on it that's carrying the hangers, and it points to the next hanger that it's going to hand you. Or hell, it does it itself. I mean, why not, right?
You need to have a discussion with Jeff Elwell.
Yeah.
We need to get you with Jeff and Ghost Robotics.
The only thing that holds me up with that one is how, show of hands, how many can think of at least 24 field guys that would mess with that robot?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, totally.
The only thing that catches me.
But
it accidentally fell down that elevator shaft.
If you use the one from Ghost Robotics, you can mount a gun on top of it,
Yeah,
and that will keep
that's
them
just-
away. It will. I guarantee it will keep them away. By the way, if you haven't tried it, try Sitescape. I usually don't call out anybody, but he's a startup, and I've been using his stuff for LiDAR, and it goes to Revit really fast.
We've been playing
and I
with
don't know that
that's
anybody
pretty cool.
else is out there. I think it's just a kind of a white space, but Sitescape's awesome for the LiDAR stuff.
There's another one that's origami that's been pretty good.
I haven't tried
We've been
origami. I'll try
I
that.
think it's origami. Is what it's called.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Ooh, nice.
Nice.
I tried my truck, and I swear it doesn't actually look like this in real life. I have windshields and doors on it, but
You shot
that
through
was
it.
LiDAR.
Right.
Yeah, it was so good. It just went straight through it, X-rayed. So
Yes.
that was kind of an interesting scan.
I'm wondering if you had like sunlight that blocked that.
Well, so that's what it was cloudy today. So I thought, oh, that's a home run. That's your best friend for scanning, right? And
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead.
If you take some magnets to give it a little texture, because it does both LiDAR and then it like uses photogrammatics to try to line things up also, you can get better results.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like it tried. I can see some things deeper in that wheel well, but
DJ's clicking in the chat. He says
Yeah.
the LiDAR doesn't like reflective surfaces.
Yes, he's 100% right.
So that
Yeah.
would mean why it would pick up inside the wheel well things that
Right.
aren't reflective versus, some of the other parts.
How does the cloud look? Because that's clearly more like a mesh, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man, do I have a point?
because
Oh, I do.
it's mesh. It's mesh knowledge maybe what's making that look bad.
Yeah, you could be spot on right there. Should have had a recap up.
But anyways, that's for another episode.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll do a reality capture episode later.
How about it's an oldie but a goodie, the photo bombing, or at least photo editing to make it look like you're photo bombing. That's always kind of fun.
I think
Is that not a hobby? So
I think it's
here,
probably
It can
hobby.
be, yeah.
let's see if I can find that photo. So there's a guy in the office. He got married. This has been years ago, and he had this picture of his bride. And I'm like, man, that is That's amazing. So I went in. I don't know. You can see it's a bad photo of it, but
Oh, there's John. That's John.
Hey, John, what are you
Put
doing
John
in
on a
his
rock.
coworker's thing? What were you doing on that island, John?
I admit nothing. Admit nothing.
So I had that in over his wife's picture for 9 months before I finally broke down. I was like, dude, look at your photos. Come on.
Come on, man. Oh, that's great. All right, Travis, you got anything on the? Oh, wait, you got it. Oh,
Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
that's
so I
not
was using it to see if I could verify like a bathroom group. And that was kind of the rough mesh or point cloud. So it was.
I mean, it's not. Yeah, I mean,
it's my first. It was my first try at it. So next time I'll have better results.
this is V1. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Is this the 11 or the 13? Or the 12 or
13.
the 13? The 13?
13.
Yeah, the brand new
Yeah.
13. All right. All right. Travis, what about you?
I was trying to think real hard of a new hobby, but like everything really kind of for me centers around my kids' sports, and I really want to do another powerlifting meet. It's been several years since I've done one. I was hoping to get one here in the beginning of 2022. There's a meet in Dubuque, Iowa. But I don't know if I'll. The hard part is like any other athletic endeavor, you remember what you used to be able to do, and I want to be able to do that again. And I don't know if I'll get back to that point. But just talking to you guys, like getting back to my farmer's roots, I need to find something to do a little bit more with tinkering or with my hands and stuff. I kind of got away with it. I have done woodworking projects and stuff in the past. We partially finished our basement. I did all the framing and wiring and stuff like that. And I do miss it. So maybe I'll start looking for more opportunities like that.
Nice.
Trent, you going to add anything in?
Not much, I'll say. I mean, my wife definitely doesn't want me to take on any more hobbies that cost money outside of motorsports. So, I mean, for me, I think the big hobby I want to get is to get this podcast and the Dorks more. I think that I want to take it to the next level. I have enough money spent in some of the other things that I do. Right. I mean, let's
You have
let's
a
get this
freaking Porsche.
Yeah. Right. Wasn't going to say it like that, but
I will.
I think I'd like to see us take this to the next level, and you can see kind of Jeff, what do you call it, the dork web that we've grown here a little bit.
Dork web.
I mean, here's Aaron, a guy that we've known for a little while, and now he's in here. You see some of the staples that come in and out. I want to see this thing keep going.
All right. I like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm going to end it with mine. I'm actually going to get back to my roots of building computers. My son has come to me and asked if he could buy his friend's old gaming computer. And I was like, we do not buy old gaming computers. That's like buying an old race car and then knowing you're just going to have to rebuild it. No. Maybe you buy the chassis, but whatever. You're going to put a new engine in and everything.
You don't buy used race cars.
No, you don't buy used race cars. So we're going to get in there. And we're going to start at Micro Center and we're going to go buy all the parts and pieces. We're going to build him a gaming machine this summer. So I'm going to get back to that. And I hope to buy him a 3D printer because I think I can learn to do more 3D printing. I talk about it enough that I don't have one. So I think I'm going to be doing that. And teaching him how to build things and put them together and use this crazy tech thing for the good. Because there's a whole episode around when my child uses tech for bad.
That would be an interesting, I don't know if there's a way to pull the Dorkaverse about this, but I would say for a technologist in getting to touch the very advanced stuff that I get to touch through my business, relatively speaking, in my home life, I'm a Luddite. Like obviously I have all the streaming services, I have big screen TVs, whatever, but I don't have any home automation. I don't have a 3D printer. I still have a Samsung S10 phone. Like I just, for whatever reason, I just at home I don't engage with technology at the same level.
Separation.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, Travis, that I have it all, but none of it's linked up like it could be or should be. And it's one of those things like it's the mechanic whose car doesn't run quite right. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'll get to that later. My son will be like, why is this not all hooked up, Dad? Isn't this what you do? And I'm like, well, kind of.
Who's paying me to do this part of it?
Yeah, nobody pays me. The only thing I do have working is my Nest through my phone so that I can turn on the heat before I get home. Because Aaron, you saw how cold it was. So when I have this set on eco at 50 and I'm coming back home, it needs an hour to get warmed up. So
yeah, we have one smart light bulb in the whole house.
I have a wax melter on it, and my son has his light on it because he loves to tell his light to turn on and turn off. That's it. Like I could have so much more.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I can't do it. It's so hard. You have to get the app. You have to hook. I'm just not gonna do it. So that's gonna be mine. All right. So we're gonna wrap her on up. This has been awesome. Thank you. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a blast.
It's great to have you. You make John look good. So keep it on. We'll start using your picture for him instead.
Yeah. You can just come on and yes, exactly.
There you go.
Just come on and say.
If we ever need a fill-in for John, we know what to do.
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, hopefully we'll see y'all out there. We'll hear from you soon. This has been episode 35, Dorks and Their Hobbies. For everyone here at the DorkCast, I just want to say, make it a great week. Have a lot of fun. We'll see you guys soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Later.
Yeah. Thank you.
Eleven more
Grapefruit
days.
soda? Is that a grapefruit soda?
You got it. Oh, it's grapefruit sparkling water.
Oh.
Better with vodka, but I got 11 more days. And I will have done sober September and October.
Hats
It's
off to you.
impressive.
Yeah.
You know what's going to break it? Flavia.
Uh-oh.
I got their note and didn't pay attention to it, and it automatically renewed. And I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah, mine did too. Oh, is this
Firework.
Aaron or John? I can't tell by the picture.
Yeah, it's hard to tell.
It's a tough one.
Turn on your camera. We might be able to tell. He's still coming in. He's muted. Oh, there he goes.
Yeah,
Oh,
sorry,
it's
guys.
Aaron.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mine is
So hold on with that. Okay, so we're gonna do this. I'm gonna stop my camera, and I had a little something for you guys.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
why does John say Aaron Krovance?
Oh, he's got a John bobblehead.
I know.
Something next to him like a cardboard cutout, John. All right,
John
now
is
you make me
coming,
feel
right?
better. I'm going to hold my story, and that's going to be my hobby.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was gonna wear the T-shirt, but I just didn't have it today.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Dude, we have to send you a steel toe shirt.
So yeah, no, all I had was my blue blockers for glasses. Hold on. I should turn on my lights so you can actually see.
That's hilarious. He should just badmouth Stratus the whole time. Or field orders. Badmouth field orders.
Yeah.
Oh, our field order. Oh yeah, definitely. See? Oh, I even just beat him in.
Boom. Boom.
Oh, wait. Is that John? I thought
There,
we already had
wait,
John.
Wait a minute. We were just talking to you.
there's two Johns here.
You're Aaron. It will be two Aarons in no time at all. Just wait.
No.
I have this feeling. I have this feeling you will surpass me pretty quick here.
John, you got this aura of negativity lately. I'm not liking it. You gotta get you out of this.
I told
No,
my
it's-
friend. I told my friends about it. Is like, I'm gonna have to come big because if you aim for the king, you can't miss.
Right?
Yeah.
Right on.
Go
Right
big
on.
or go home.
That's
baby.
right.
Aaron, do you know how to spell?
No.
All you got to do is learn how to spell, dude. You'll be doing great. You'll be doing great.
Oh,
I
I
also-
did misspell it. It was Jon, not Aaron. I always get them mixed up.
All right.
Let's have a moment. We should all, the three of us should turn off our cameras.
I
and
know.
we should have them turn like mirror
Oh, he
style.
took the sport coat off.
Yeah,
We
I
need
don't
the
know
same
how to do
back.
it.
Let's get the same background going, and then.
This
Is
is
this
gonna
one
be
where
like
I'm supposed to be able to drink or
Yeah.
not?
Oh yes.
okay.
yes.
Because is this being this is being recorded? Are we going to edit this out?
No.
If there's some,
The
unless there's
beginning,
something
yes.
specifically you don't want put
Okay,
out there.
I'm gonna turn off my camera so you guys don't know where my stash is.
Oh yeah. Do that. Do
Do
that.
that.
We don't edit out any of the curse words. We are rated E for excellent
Everyone.
and explicit, and everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, Travis is trying to be. Nobody did it. I don't know what episode we are.
30,
I don't either.
Oh, hold on.
30,
man.
14.
Did last week's count or the?
Yeah,
the
does
Nope,
last
that-
week's count?
Nope, that was a bonus episode, so that does not
I
count.
put it-
Episode
I have,
35.
so for the
No.
podcast app, I have to give it an episode number.
Yeah, so we'll be 35.
Okay,
Yeah.
we'll be 35 then.
Yeah,
35.
35.
Okay.
It's funny.
Okay, so bonus
Uh,
episode 34,
we-
and we're 35.
We are so terrible.
I wonder why we don't get sponsored.
I don't know. Seems like
Flavia.
that would be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, but we'd have to sell our souls too. So, you know.
Yes.
I did that a while ago, so I'm like, I have to
I'm
buy
game.
some before I can sell again.
Can you take a second mortgage out on your soul? I mean, mine's already gone. So.
All right. That's where we got to go.
You can
live.
Refinance that.
Can you refinance? That's why you have kids, right?
Oh, that's right. I can sell one of them.
Financing program.
They go for that. Usually, you sell your firstborn for a lot. It's the second one that's not worth as much.
Right.
Yeah, it's
What
diminishing
about the
value.
third and the fourth one?
That's just it's just a mistake. They actually
It's all
pay you to keep
damaged
those.
goods.
Yeah, those they just throw back. All right, here we go. We're going live.